So today we'll be studying about the vibration of a spring mass system. How a mass can affect the vibration of a spring can be visualized in this experiment. Let's say we have one bar which is pinned at this point. Okay, so here it is pinned. At this end, let's say we have connected one spring, and when we give some jerk on this end, at this end, then it starts vibrating up and down. In such a case, the spring has a natural frequency which is given by this formula Fn is equal to 1 by 2 pi under root k by m. Now, what will be the effect if we apply one load at some distance from the spring? Let's say we have applied one dynamic load at certain point here, and this dynamic load is like a pulley over a shaft. The pulley rotates, so pulley is a dynamic load. So this dynamic load is here, and while by applying this dynamic load on this beam, it will affect the vibration of a spring, and it will affect the vibration of this beam also. Okay. Let's say after applying this, the beam is allowed to vibrate such that the deflection at this end is given by delta. Okay. After applying this load, external load, at some distance, let's say the distance is L. So let's try to find out that if what will happen if we apply this external load. So this, we know that, let's say this beam has its own weight, and due to its own weight, the total bending is M cross L. Okay. This is the M is the mass of the external uh, load, and this external mass is creating one bending moment, that is M cross L. And let's say due to this, there is this effective mass which is acting at the center of this beam, and this center of this beam is, let's say the total length is L, then this is L by 2. What I'm trying to do in this equation is that we are trying to find out an effective mass which will produce the same effect of bending when we apply this external load. So after applying this external load, this is creating bending of this beam, which has the effect which can be measured using the equation M cross L. And if we look at the overall beam, the beam's weight is supposed to act at the center point. This is L by 2. And then M1 is an equivalent weight that will actually accommodate the effect of this external load. Okay. It means that if there is one load which is acting on the center point, which will be equivalent to load, this applied load M, which has been applied at a distance L from the pin. So here I can write M1 is actually equal to M cross L cross 2 by L. This is an equivalent load at the center. Now let's say that this load has been replaced by a spring at the center. Okay. And at the center, because this end is delta at the center, the total deflection will be delta by 2. So if F is the force experienced by this original spring, then F cross L, which is nothing but the bending effect at this end, must also be equal to the bending effect by this external load, which is nothing but F1 cross total length is, if total length is L, then L by 2. Okay. Or we can just write, sorry, this should also be small l. Then we can just write that F1 is nothing but 2F, which actually means that this central spring will observe or will experience a force which is approximately twice of the force experienced by the original spring at the end when it is subjected to this external load M. We also know that this F1 is actually equal to K1 into delta by 2. The F1 is this new force which is experienced by this equivalent spring. K1 is the stiffness of this new spring and delta by 2 is the deflection of this new spring. And F1 is already, we know it is 2F, that is 2K into delta, that is K1 into delta by 2, which actually gives that the value of K1 is actually 4K. What does it mean is that if we replace this mass and use a spring at the center, which will produce an equivalent effect of this mass, then the force experienced by this spring will be twice of the original force experienced by this spring, the spring at the end, and the stiffness of this spring must be 4 times larger than the stiffness of original spring. So once we know this, the natural frequency of this system can be determined using this formula 1 by 2 pi under root K1 by, this is M2, which where M2 is at total load. It means that M1 plus beam weight or mass of the beam. तो अगर कोई भी एक्सटर्नल डायनामिक लोड किसी भी शाफ्ट पे ऐसे काम कर रहा है जो स्प्रिंग से थोड़ा दूर है और स्प्रिंग से कनेक्टेड है, तो उसके इफेक्ट को डेमोन्स्ट्रेट करने के लिए हम एक इक्विवेलेंट स्प्रिंग का यूज कर सकते हैं और मास को रिप्लेस कर सकते हैं, और उस केस में इस बीम की नेचुरल फ्रीक्वेंसी इस इक्वेशन Fn इज इक्वल टू 1 बाई 2 पाई अंडर रूट K1 बाई M2 के हिसाब से दी जा सकती है, वेयर K1 इज एक्चुअली 4 टाइम्स ऑफ द स्टिफनेस ऑफ K. तो हम लोग यहाँ पे Fn को लिख सकते हैं 1 बाई 2 पाई अंडर रूट 4K बाई M2. तो M2 हम लोग इस इक्वेशन से निकाल सकते हैं. K is probably known, then we can determine the theoretical natural frequency of this system. The system means either the spring or the beam, both will have the same frequency because they are connected to each other. So this natural frequency, theoretically we can determine using this equation. We can also determine the natural frequency using the experiments where we give a small jerk at this end, or we gives excitation to this external load. This external load is also called exciter. So there can be experimental value and there can be theoretical value, then these values must be the same. Okay, this is theoretical value. That is what you have to see, that adding this exciter will create a natural frequency which is different than the original natural frequency without the weight, and this natural frequency is given by this equation theoretically, and it should match with the experimental data. So that is what you have to just check in this experiment, whether these relations hold true or not. So that's all for this experiment. For much more detail, you can go to the video shared by Vidit.